Ma'am.
My name is Roseanne Theobald, Flaubert Road. Mr. Yule may have just answered my question. Mr. Messeri gave his reasons for recommending, but I didn't hear the selectmen say why they did not recommend. So I'm just curious, do the rest of the selectmen, with their rationale for not recommending the same as Mr. Yule, or do you have other reasons for not recommending?
Mr. Delaney, were you for or against?
I was for, but I wanted to explain why. You know, possibly answer the question.
Well, her specific question is, the others who did not recommend, did they not recommend because of what Mr. Yule said? Mr. O'Leary.
One of the majority three members to not recommend at this time, and for a little different reason. Mr. Castro asked us that normally we'd actually take a little leap of faith on something like this, and normally I would too. And a couple of weeks ago, I was inclined, and I said it publicly, to support this. And since that time, I've heard proposals. I mean, this money we haven't even appropriated yet. We haven't got a dime out of it yet, and we've already got it spent. And believe me, we can spend it. There's no doubt about it. We have all sorts of holes to fill here, whether it be the school department, whether it be librarians in the school department, or paraprofessionals, or whether it be the unfilled police positions, whether it be our IT person that we're not filling the position. There's a whole host of places we can put this money. However, what I've heard from proposals so far in relation to this, 70% of this $50,000 has already been proposed for positions that aren't even currently in the operating budget. I'm afraid that if we implement it now, we're going to find more things to spend the money on. Different things that are not necessarily to sustain, maintain programs that we currently have, programs that we should be supporting and backfilling positions on. So I'm not ready to go there yet. And yes, $50,000 that maybe we're leaving on the table. In relation to the argument as far as what the effect is going to be on our local restaurants, it's not the dollar amount that I see as being the effect. It's the psychological effect. You know, shall we be in North Reading if they charge that tax? Whereas right now, Danville said no. I believe Andover said no. So if you have a little choice, the psychological effect, why don't I pay that extra tax if I just go to Andover or just go over to Danville? I'm willing to consider it, strongly consider it. Generally, I'm in favor of supporting it, but not at this particular time. I don't have enough confidence in ourselves right now to hold the line and not spend the money where maybe I think it should go. Again, I need the money minority. But we can come back and revisit this at the April town meeting and implement it for July 1st. Have a full fiscal year starting July 1st for the rest. So I'm not in favor of doing it at this particular time. Let's hold the line. Let's see if we can hold the line on ourselves, or who we're going to spend the money on. And two, let's see what the other surrounding communities are doing. Do we really want to place with a small dollar amount our local businesses that contribute so heavily to the quality of life of this community? We want to place them at a disadvantage unnecessarily. Let's see what the rest of the community is going to do in the meantime. That was my rationale.
I'm going a little bit out of order, but that's because he's addressing the previous question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm one of the selectmen who voted against this. My reasons were much simpler, although I agree with many you have heard. I will not raise taxes just because I can. I don't think that's right. I think if we need the money for projects, whatever, then we should raise and appropriate through normal tax procedures so we can write it off. I will not support this.
Capizzuto.
Larry Capizzuto, 12 Gray Drive. I do appreciate all the comments. I must admit, Mr. Lee, I have to tell you, are a wonderful, wonderful corporate citizen. You've always been there for the town. You will continue to be there for the town. I think the town needs this. I think it's a very small price to pay. I think that the community that patronizes the restaurants in this community will continue to patronize the restaurants in this community. If I have a choice to dine in North Reading, limited that it is, I choose to dine in North Reading. If it costs me 37 cents on a $50 tab, I will do that. I continue to buy my wine at New England Beverage or Eastgate Liquor. The state imposed a tax on my bottle of wine. I continue to buy my bottle of wine in North Reading because I support the community. And I think that most citizens would think, not, I'm going to go to Andover or I'm going to Reading to another restaurant because the restaurant is going to impose 37 cents on my bill. I think not. If you patronize local restaurants, you will continue to do so, whether or not the tax is imposed or not. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Kathy Lee, 22 Aston Road. I would appreciate all the patronage of those who do patronize our restaurant. We appreciate our patrons very much, and I know there's a lot of really loyal patrons that we have, and I thank all of you very, very much. I did want to bring up one thing, a couple of just points real quick, and obviously we all have minds of our own, and we're the town who vote the way we're going to vote. But just for the record, only 30 out of 350 towns said yes so far to this particular tax. A couple being they said yes so far. And North Andover, no, or Andover, Woodward, and Danvers, all down the Cape, and no for the Metro West. So just to kind of give you an idea of how it's been going out, they don't want to tax their own residents. That whole tax thing again, that's just the idea of it. So I just wanted to let you be aware of that.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. To begin, I would respectfully disagree with the moderator in terms of his reprimand of Mrs. Castro. I think she was absolutely on point when she was talking about the failure of our state legislature. Due to the actions taken by the state legislature last year in giving the governor the authority to come over aid, resulted in a reduction of local aid to this community. And as you probably have heard, the governor has asked for that same authority just last week and the week before. Although the legislature has not granted him that authority as of yet, I don't have faith that they will hold the line on that. I'm confident, unfortunately, that they will accede to his wishes, and therefore, we as a county subject to another cut in local aid in all the communities, especially here at home in North Reading. This is an opportunity, although to raise any tax is very unpopular. This one here, as was mentioned by the Finance Committee, is a voluntary, an optional tax. You can choose whether or not you go where you go out. And as has been said, when you're looking to go out with your wife and your family, I don't think you're going to go on the website of any restaurant to determine whether or not that community has chosen to adopt or not adopt the local meal tax. This is $50,000 to this community. And it's a conservative, the information I have is a conservative number, the $50,000 number. That if this article passes, this community will bring in from January 1 to June 30th of 2010. Due to the financial situation that the state and this community is in, I don't think we can just take a pass at $50,000 and wait until April town meeting to see whether or not we should consider this article then to maybe implement it in July 1, 2010. I don't think anyone can sit here and say that we can take a pass at $50,000. So based upon that, I ask and I encourage you to vote in favor. If I was one of the two members of this board voted in favor of recommending this article, I ask you to support and recommend this article. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. One of the things about a tax like this is this isn't exactly free money. The businesses that have to collect this tax, there's a paperwork requirement, there's a labor requirement to accumulate all these numbers and turn them in. And then once it comes to the town, there's also the town's responsibility to
accept this money, and there's a labor component there of some kind. The whole infrastructure for collecting this tax has to be set up, and I haven't heard what the cost of that is to actually administer this and to collect it. So I don't think it's quite what it's made out to be. I do agree with you. I don't think this is the way to collect this money. If we have a real need, it is our responsibility as members of this community to address that need and fund it, not to go after a small amount like this in businesses that we already don't give the kind of support that we should. We should be providing things like wastewater treatment and things like that, sewerage for these businesses, so they can flourish, so they can be successful. And you don't even do that. So to add tax onto them is probably not the best way of going about this. Thank you.
Mr. Harris.
Mike Harris, Palmy Road. Judged by the blog, I think this is the most one anyway, so I'm going to go on. I've heard,
Can't hear you.
I apologize. I've heard this is because of the economy's bad, the recession and everything. But in a good economy, this tax is still going to be here. And depending on how long the recession lasts and how old the board of selectmen is, it's probably going to be higher by that point. So I just like to know how much is enough. When does the shipping stop? And I think we should use the bad situation we're in to get a little creative. We've always done that before, and it seems like we always have the same solution over and over and over again to go back to people and take more money out of their pocket. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Karen Sauter, 7 Greenbrier, not speaking as a school committee member, but as a young working professional, many of whom are not here tonight because they're working. I work many, many hours hard for me to get here to this meeting, and I'm committed to this town. I have tremendous pride in my town. Living here, I patronize the businesses like Horseshoe Kitty, etc. a lot, 5 to 6 times a week, because I'm coming home from work very late. I live in Worcester. So I rely on these restaurants because I need to eat so I can go to my next meeting. There are a lot of people who do this. Similarly, there are communities that rely on these local businesses for socialization, for the community aspect of getting together. These are things we can't discount. But as a young working professional, I think it's important that we already say, you know what, I already can't afford the sales tax increase. I couldn't afford anything before that. So to add on, it's not just a little. It's too much already. So I'm struggling. I'm sure there's a lot of other people in my practice who are struggling, who are just suffering month after month, living from paycheck to paycheck if they get one at all. So I'm speaking on behalf of those people who aren't here tonight, who are working, who really do care about this community, who do rely on these businesses, or really their day-to-day living, as I do. So I urge you to vote against it. We have a lot of money that we need. This is a drop in the bucket. As many people have argued that it shouldn't be such a big deal. But we're probably going to see a couple $1,000s in the school budget. That's the only argument I'll make about the school budget, is that we need a lot more than that, and we're not going to see very much. We need to be very creative and inventive about how we budget and how we use that money, if we get it at all. We're going to have to make hard choices. I'm going without, as many of you are. In fact, almost all of us are going without. The state has to learn how to go without, too. Enough is enough.
Yeah, Catherine, I'm right away. Just to clarify a couple of things that have been said. Mr. O'Leary had mentioned that Andover and Danvers did vote against the meal tax. However, they have the good fortune of having hotels in their community, and they voted in favor of a 6% increase in the hotel tax, something that North Reading does not have the benefit of. There are only 32 communities that have voted for this meal tax in favor, and that is because, just as we're standing here tonight, they have to make those decisions at town meetings, which have not taken place yet. So we're likely to see those numbers grow. And sir, I couldn't agree with you more. My whole point, what I was trying to say earlier, enough is enough. But until everyone in this room is willing to do the work and spend the time that is necessary to push back on our state leaders, This is where we end up, and I'm telling you, as I stand here tonight,